And then suddenly we're told, no, these things don't work. There is no cure for this disease. We have to have a vaccine because there is no cure for it. Well, that's just pure baloney, because there are doctors all over the world who are curing it.
I'm curious with what you said, how that filters in your understanding of, mass vaccination as sort of the sole or best solution for dealing with the viruses, because I feel that, with your living systems approach, is it possible that there are other ways that are also efficacious or evolutionary advantageous for us to use to respond to this virus that's not the vaccination route? I mean, scientifically, how do you sort of see that? Can both options exist together and still work well?
Well, the strangest thing to me about this pandemic is that for the first time in history, we're told we can have a disease with no symptoms whatsoever. We've never before had a disease that you're said to have when you're, for all intents and purposes, behaving like a perfectly normal, healthy person. And furthermore, which we decide which apparently healthy people have the disease by a test, the maker of which said very clearly cannot diagnose the disease. So there's something very strange going on here. We know that a strong immune system is our best defense against any kind of dis-ease. We know that our bodies are full of microbes, that we have 10 times as many bacteria in our guts and on our skins as we have nucleated cells. And every multicelled creature has always been born with its contingent of bacteria to keep it healthy. They run our immune system, because most disease comes in through your mouth, through what you take in, through what you eat. And so your gut bacteria have to process that and keep figuring out what should be attacked and dismissed, and what needs to be allowed in, and what's nutrients and what isn't. And viruses come along with bacteria. In fact, every cell in your body is spitting out viruses manufactured within the cell 24/7, like dandruff, into the liquid that flows, the plasma between the cells and rivers. And some of these are marked with addresses, like those protein codes, that are intended for certain other cells that will recognize and take them in. Some of them are plasmids, some of they're just bits of viral material that get spit out. But we've always been living with viruses. We make them in all our cells. We've always been living with bacteria, and we want to have strong immune systems, which is why we know we need healthy food.
Yeah.
So here we are. We're told we have a disease through the test, and then we're either isolated or shunned or whatever, and we're wearing masks that is kind of like trying to keep mosquitoes out with a chain link fence, because viruses really are very, very small. And we're told to, avoid each other and all these things. This is very strange. Well, as soon as the pandemic started, doctors started treating patients, and they just tried whatever worked for them, and they built up their immune systems and figured out what vitamins were they deficient in. Like, it turns out vitamin D3 is a very common deficiency in our culture. And then they stumbled on the fact that a couple of medications like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin seemed to work in connection with that set of supplements. And what's interesting about those medications that work, besides the fact that they're very harmless, every soldier in Vietnam had to take hydroxychloroquine the whole time they were stationed in Vietnam, and long proven cheap, effective, and harmless kinds of medications. And then suddenly we're told, no, these things don't work. There is no cure for this disease. We have to have a vaccine because there is no cure for it. Well, that's just pure baloney because there are doctors all over the world who are curing it. I can tell you lots of stories. I have very dear friends who moved to El Salvador because they had known the current young president of El Salvador since he was a teenager. They had been doing disaster relief work there. And so they're now very close to him as advisors. And he imported 26 million COVID kits that had ivermectin and a bunch of supplements in them, and then announced to the population of his country, if you have any symptoms at all, call this number, we'll deliver it to your door free of charge. And they were doing very well. And then all of a sudden, just when they were going to release the statistics on how well this was working, a huge number of vaccines were dumped free of charge on the country. And I still can't get the full story of how he was coerced. I happen to know his mom got the vaccine, but he still hasn't. Anyway, I'm in touch with these people.
Wow.
I know these things work. We just had a big forum in Rome of doctors from all over the world sharing all of their protocols. And my best soul body doctor friend in Germany, who has been working on this issue for the whole time it's been around, he was there at that forum and contributed to it. And there are so many good people out there, so many doctors in the United States demonstrating that it's a curable thing. And also the Chinese did a study of 1 million people that came out and said non-symptomatic people do not transmit this disease. So we've got all these very strange things going on. And I don't believe the pandemic can be understood without that evolutionary context.